All right, guys. As I'm looking at number one, as I'm reading through it, I can tell I have 18 total coins. And now I have a total of 285. And I want to figure out which of these four equations works for what I have. I look at the first answer. 0.10q, 0.25b. Quarters aren't 10 cents. Dimes aren't 25 cents. A's gone. I know the total amount of money isn't $18. So B's gone. Quarters are 25 cents. Dimes are 10 cents. I have a total of 35. And I know the amount of quarters and dimes has to equal 18. So C is my answer. Pretty straightforward, but that's why it's level 1 to 2. If I'm looking at number 2, it says at which point would the graph of the equation below intersect? So again, all this is telling me to do is solve this system. I don't care how you solve it, just solve it. If I look, my x's are almost eliminated. If I multiply this by 2, I'm going to have 6x minus 8y equals negative 4. And I'm going to have negative 6x plus 5y equals 7. If I add these two equations together, my x's go away. I have a negative 3y left over with a 3. Divide by negative 3, and y is negative 1. So I'm looking at all of my answers. Y is negative 1 for A and B. C and D are gone. To figure this out, I plug it back into either of these equations. I'm going to plug y equals negative 1 back into this first equation and solve for x. So 3x minus 4 times negative 1 has to equal negative 2. 3x plus 4 equals negative 2. Solve this two-step equation. 4 subtract 4. 3x equals negative 6. That means x is negative 2. Your answer for this one at y equals negative 1, x equals negative 2 is A. Again, straightforward. That's why it's level 3. Number 3 is which graph represents the solution to the following inequality. First off, I have no idea because this is not in the correct format. I need it to be in y equals mx plus b form. I need slope intercept. So to get it in y equals mx plus b form, I got to solve for y. Divide by negative 4. When I divide by negative 4, though, watch out for the inequality. You have to flip it. So it's going to be y is less than negative 1 half x minus 1. So again, I need a y-intercept of negative 1. I need a slope of negative 1 half. And I need this thing dotted and below because of the sign that's less than. So if I'm looking, C and D are gone. Those y-intercepts are not negative 1. Those y-intercepts are 4. So that means it's either between A or B. Between A and B, both are negative 1 y-intercepts. Again, A is greater than, B is less than because of the shading. Again, we need a shading that's below the line. B is below the line. B is our answer. So again, kind of more difficult because you have to solve for y first. Again, still not crazy difficult. Still not crazy hard. All right. Number 4. Which graph can be used to find the solution to the equation below? Again, straight up solving it. But instead of just getting my solution, I need to be able to find a graph that shows my solution. If I'm looking at this and I want to solve it right now, I can't solve it easily. If I want to use elimination, that's not possible. Just remember, for elimination, our variables have to line up. Our variables don't line up right here. You can see the y size over here, 2x, the constant are over here. I need this 2x to be over here. And again, since it's a positive 2x, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides so I can line up my variables. My first equation stays the same. 2x plus y equals negative 4. My second equation, once I subtract 2x, it's going to be negative 2x minus 3y equals 12. Now, there's no manipulating involved whatsoever. My x's are going to cancel once I add these two equations together. So I'm going to have negative 2y equals divide by y, divide by -2, y is -4. So again, my y-axis, or my intersection point, has to go through the point at y is -4. This intersection point does not go through there. This intersection point goes through x is -4. This intersection point is nowhere close. Y equals -4. The only one possible is A. So again, you don't have to solve for x this time. All you have to do is solve for y. Process of elimination, A has to be your answer. 5. I need to figure out which of these 4 coordinates works for these or this system of inequalities. But again, I don't have a graph to look. So when you guys don't have a graph to determine which coordinate is correct, the easiest way is to take each of these 4 coordinates and substitute them in for x and y. So as I go through, start with A, 0, 6. I'm going to plug in 0 for x, 6 for y. So it's going to be 2 times 0 plus 3 times 6 is less than 10. And there's going to be -0, which is just 0, so I'm not even going to write it, plus 2 times 6 is greater than or equal to -8. Well, 0 plus 18 is not less than 10. So since 0 plus 18 is not less than 10, this first inequality is a false statement. I don't have to go any further. Yeah, I know 12 is greater than -8, but you have to have both inequalities work out. So since they don't, I'm going to move on to B. A can't be my answer. So keep going. 2 times 5 plus 3 times -5 is less than 18. And then I'm going to have -5 plus 2 times -5 is greater than or equal to -8. Once I simplify these down, I'm going to have 10 minus 15 is less than 18. And then I'm going to have -5 minus 10. -5 minus 10 is greater than or equal to -8. And minus 15 is definitely less than 18, because that's -5. -5 is less than 18. But -5 minus 10 is -15. -15 is not greater than -8. So since -15 is not greater than -8, this second inequality is false. B doesn't work. Move on to C. When I plug these 2 coordinates in, I'm going to show my work up here. It's going to be 2 times -4 plus 3 times 0 is less than 18. And then it's going to be -2 plus 2 times 0 is greater than -8. So in the top, I have -8 is less than 18. My second inequality turns into -2 is greater than or equal to -8. Both of these inequality statements are true. So again, after I plug in my x and y coordinates, since both of my inequality statements come out to be true, this coordinate has to be part of the solution. C is your answer. All right, 6 and 7, the chart questions, or mixture questions, however you want to say it. As I'm reading through this problem, I'm going to pick out everything I need to know for this solution, set my equation. So we're talking about which is not a dog food, Lewis. It's not a dog food, okay? It's human food. I know that chocolate is 80 cents a pound. I also know that I'm buying 8 pounds of Chex Mix that's $1.25 a pound. I need to make a mixture that costs $1 a pound. How many pounds of chocolate do I need? Again, underlying all the important information, I realize that I only have one unknown, technically. All right, I know how many pounds of Chex I have. I have 8, so I don't need a y in this problem. Since I don't need a y, I can create my chart and make one equation to solve for one missing value. So I'm going to let x be the number of pounds of chocolate. I'm going to make my chart where I have chocolate, check, mixture, amount, price, and total cost. So I know I don't know the amount of chocolate. I do know I need 8 pounds of Chex Mix. That's a lot of Chex Mix. Now the mixture. I don't know the mixture. But when you mix two things together, you're just adding them. So X plus 8. A dollar amount. We know chocolate is 80 cents a pound. We know that Chex Mix is $1.25 a pound. And the problem told us that the mixture has to be $1 a pound. So to find the total cost, you just gotta multiply the amount you buy by the total, well, by the price per pound. So this is gonna be 0.80 times X. Now, if I'm trying to figure out the total cost for Chex Mix, I need to multiply 8 times 1.25. So once I multiply 8 times 1.25, I have 10. And 1 times X plus 8 is really just X plus 8. Now, remember, if this is some other number besides 1, you have to distribute it. But since 1 times X and 1 times 8 is just still X plus 8, I'm going to write X plus 8. This is what we care about. This final piece. That's our equation. So it's going to be 0.80x plus 10 equals X plus 8. From here, solve for X. Simple multi-step equation. I'm going to move this 0.80x over here. So I have 10 equals, remember there's a 1 right here. So 1 minus 0.8 is just 0.2. Simple two-step equation. That's going to be 2 equals 0.2x. Divide by 0.2. And x is 10. I need 10 pounds of chocolate. 10 pounds of chocolate. Boom. Again, one of the more difficult problems for this little IB assessment because of the fact is that the mixture problems are just tough in nature. And again, you have to figure out, do I need 2 equations or do I need a chart? Do I only have one variable? In this case, you have 1 variable, make a chart, solve for x, you're done. Also make sure you're answering the question. If the question said, how many pounds of mixture do I need? We wouldn't be done. You'd have to take x, which is 10, add it to the 8 pounds of x, 18 pounds of mixture. So again, make sure you're answering the question that it wants you to. All right. Last question for the IB assessment that we were talking about. Number 7. If I'm looking at number 7, it's another mixture question. I'm taking some 70% solution, some 40% solution, and I'm making 120 gallons of 50% solution. And I need to figure out how many gallons of each solution do I need. Now, this is a dead giveaway. This is a dead giveaway at the type of question that I have. It's asking me to find both variables. Since I don't have either variable, I need 2 equations. The chart is out of the question. Okay, I'm going to make my 2 equations and be done with it. So I know x has to be the amount of 70% solution, and y has to be the amount of 40% solution. And I need to mix these to get a 50% solution. So again, I'm trying to get 120 gallons. I know that x, which is the amount of 70%, plus y, which is the amount of 40%, has to be 120 gallons. That's the easier of the 2 equations to figure out. Take my total amount of 70% solution, take the total amount of 40% solution, add them together, I should get 120. Now, for the next equation, most of you can typically get this one as well for the most part until the final number comes into play. Because you know, all right, I have a 70% solution, 0.70x. I also have a 40% solution. So it's 0.4y. But most of the time, you end right here. This is percent times amount. This is percent times amount. This also has to be percent times amount. Right now it's just percent, 50%. The amount of that 50% I need is 120. These are your two equations. Once you have your two equations set up, figure out which variable you want to eliminate, and then go from there. If I'm looking, I'm just going to multiply this top equation by negative 0.40. I want to cancel out my y's. I could multiply it by negative 0.7 and cancel out my x's. That's fair game as well. But I'm just going to go with negative 0.40 because it's a smaller number. So I'm going to have negative 0.4x minus 0.4y. Now, when I multiply 120 by negative 0.4, I'm going to have negative 48. And half of 120 is 60. Combine like terms, add your two equations together. My y's go away. This is 0.3x. And this is going to be 12. Divide 12 by 0.3. And we have x is 40. We have x is 40. And again, if I'm looking at all five for my answers, the 70% solution has to be 40. That's gone because that says 80. That's gone because that says 50. That's gone because that says 70. This is the only answer that has 40 gallons of the 70% solution. So again, guys, as you can see with these 7 questions for the actual IB assessment criteria, they do go up in difficulty as you go on, but again, that's the purpose. So if you're able to answer the majority of these questions, and especially number 7, you definitely earned yourself a level 8. But again, you have to get there. If you are missing some here and there, you're not going to be a level 7 or 8. Again, that shows mastery. These are the toughest questions that you have to master. All right.